Hello everybody, buckle up for a wild ride through a world of jaw-dropping giants. Think massive watermelons, towering airships, and fish big enough to sink a ship. These early 1900s snapshots are bursting with oversized wonders that'll leave you chuckling and marveling at the sheer audacity of it all. Let's dive into this larger-than-life adventure. In a sun-soaked field, African-American farmers wrangle watermelons so massive they could double as carriages, while a horse-drawn wagon creaks under the strain. Picture this, a dusty trail where a dapper gent steers, a cart bursting with chickens so plump they might just crow the wagon to a standstill. A rural road, a broken cart, and pumpkins so hefty they've grounded the horse-stalk about a harvest that's too big for its britches. At the 1904 St. Louis Exposition, the Ferris wheel looms 304 feet tall, spinning dreams and dizzying views for wide-eyed fair. Minnesota's pride in 1909, a flatbed train. Car groans under a northern pike so long it could swim across the state. A farmer's wagon splinters under sweet potatoes, so enormous they could feed a county fair. Minnesota's soil clearly works overtime. Captain H.B.D. Campbell hooks a mahseer fish in the upper Ganges, a carp so colossal it could star in its own adventure tale. In Galle, Sri Lanka, the town's oldest resident stands proud in 1903, a living legend dwarfing time itself. Hastings, England, braves a stormy day as waves crash like titans, drawing crowds who marvel at nature's wild spectacle. The German ship Preußen, a steel giant with 5 masts, slices through seas in the early 1900s, a marvel of maritime muscle. A farmer rides atop a mountain of potatoes so grand they could roll straight to the state fair horse and wagon barely keep up. London's Ludgate Circus unfurls the world's largest flag, a patriotic spectacle for the Colonial Premiers Conference in the early 1900s. George Eastman's conservatory hoists an elephant head by ropes, a restoration project that's literally larger than life. Mastodon bones, unearthed between 1900 and 1930, whisper tales of prehistoric giants that once roamed the earth. A whalehead, captured between 1900 and 1927, looms as a haunting trophy of the ocean's untamed kings. In Nassau, Bahamas, a ceiba tree towers like a cotton-clad skyscraper, shading dreams in 1901. Texas corn piles high on a train car in 1910, a golden harvest so bountiful it could feed the Lone Star State twice over. A colossal camera in 1901 focuses its lens, ready to snap shots that could capture the moon if it stood still. A special goods train hauls a photographic plate so massive it could frame the entire skyline in one click. London's Blackwall Tunnel, built for £869,476, burrows beneath the Thames, a subterranean giant of engineering. In Rangoon, a reclining Buddha stretches serenely in 1900, a spiritual colossus carved from faith and stone. Muscat, Oman, reels in fish so mighty they could tug a boat back to shore without breaking a sweat. In 1933, a fishmonger slices into a tuna so enormous it could feed a seaside village for a week. At Fort Totten, a soldier blasts his bugle through a megaphone so huge it could wake the entire borough of Queens. Near Pittsburgh, a mastodon tusk, unearthed in 1909, stretches long enough to rewrite the fossil record. British actress Marie Studholme pops from a ribbon-wrapped egg, her hat stealing the show in this whimsical mid-1900s snap. A timber raft, vast as a small island, floats down Oregon's Columbia River, destined for San Francisco's skyline. Charles Baedorfer's Comet dirigible, an early airship, soars humbly before giants like the Macon took to the skies. Washington, D.C.'s brewery swaps beer for ice cream during Prohibition, rolling out vats big enough to chill a city. In Waupun, Wisconsin, a cart hauls sugar beets so massive they could anchor a ship, hooves kicking up dust. Laborers in Wisconsin load a cabbage so gigantic it needs a ramp and a train car to hit the road. An elderly farmer, dolly in hand, wheels an onion so huge it could make a stew for the whole county. Burmah's Mingon Bell, cast in 1808, weighs 90 tons, ringing loud enough to summon spirits across the Europe. Genoa's Gigante balloon, puffed up in 1903, floats high above Italy, daring gravity to catch up. In Cologne, an airship slips from its hangar, a steel beast watched by crowds dreaming of the clouds. Tegel's 1906 balloon race sees skybound giants drift over Germany, chasing glory in the breeze. South Tyrol's Gofleiner Berg yields a marble block for a monument, so vast it could sculpt a mountain. Victorian ladies stitch an umbrella so enormous it could shade a picnic for the entire village. London's Sans Pareil, a ship under construction, towers over workmen like a steel leviathan in the making. Pegu's Swethalong Buddha, 55 meters long, reclines in 1908, a serene giant dwarfing all who approached. A giant squid model at London's Natural History Museum tentacles its way into visitors' nightmares. Aswan Dam's lock gates, monolithic marvels, hold back the Nile's might with unyielding strength. Brooklyn Dodger Gil Hodges swings a bat so oversized it could home run the entire Ebbets Field. In India, Professor Rickleton poses with Kashmiri giants, men tall enough to touch the Himalayan peaks. A 12-foot violin, tuned by two girls, one on a ladder, hums a tune big enough for a concert hall. A postcard boasts peaches so plump they need a Wells Fargo train to ship them across the country. A farmer's pumpkins, each a titan of the patch, roll in ready to claim blue ribbons galore. Loggers in Northern California carve into a sequoia so wide it could house a small village. The America biplane, a Siemens Schuckert marvel, wings its way from Hamburg to New York in 20 hours. Thomas Dolvoy, a uniformed giant, towers beside a man who looks like he wandered into a fairy tale. Another giant stands proud in a suit, stovepipe hat tipping to a world far below his shoulders. Fyodor Makhno, the Russian titan, breakfasts in a hotel, his chair groaning under his 8-foot frame. Berlin's tallest man visits Countess von Bülow, a towering guest who makes chandeliers tremble. Maria Fasnauer, Tyrol's Meridel, the world's largest woman, casts a shadow as grand as the Alps. At Berlin's Korite, the giant Wilkins meets Virchow, a medical marvel studied in awe. Fyodor Makhno arrives at London's Hippodrome, his near 8-foot stature stealing the spotlight.